My first comment to this title, it never fucking stopped. Hello, this is Mara Jade, and I'm back with another video, and say what you will about the Hobbit trilogy and the lackluster reception from Tolkien fans. Say what you will, but to use that as a means to bolster your overarching arguments in this piece and build up Rings of Power from Amazon is, in my opinion, really fucking ludicrous. Ludicrous. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I don't have any criticisms of the Hobbit trilogy. Some more major than others, but I'm not going to pretend otherwise. I'm not going to pretend otherwise in regards to my feelings for that trilogy. However, how fucking ever, no matter how you feel about the Hobbit films, Peter Jackson and the studio never led fans to believe they were adapting the Hobbit book only to pull the rug from underneath said fans' feet. They adapted the book. Do I like how they adapted the book? Fuck no. Fuck no, I don't like how they adapted the book. My one major criticism, I have multiple, but my one major criticism is the fact they stretched it into 3 films because the studio wanted to capitalize and mirror the tone of the Lord of the Rings films. Never mind, The Hobbit is actually a fairy tale, a bedtime story for Tolkien's children, and is tonally different from Lord of the Rings. No, they wanted to recapture that, and it just backfired, in my opinion. Should have been 2 films at the fucking most. 2 films at the fucking most. So there, again, one major criticism. I'm not going to sit here and pretend otherwise, like I said. I'm not going to criticize what I'm seeing from Rings of Power and pretend that the Hobbit films are cinematic masterpieces. Fans can do that. Fans can criticize works from within the fandom. However, what fans don't like within any fandom is being fucking lied to. And that's what Amazon Studios and the showrunners for Rings of Power have done. Or did for years after purchasing the initial rights in 2017 from the Tolkien estates. Leading fans, outright lying to fans that they were adapting Second Age material, like Silmarillion, Unfinished Tales, and History of Middle-earth. That's what we were going to be seeing on the screen. And then surprise, fucking surprise, we find out that was a lie. And they're still lying. They are still lying by claiming they are going back to the book. What fucking book? Dickheads, what fucking book? You just said you only have the rights to the appendices, so what fucking book are you talking about when you say that you are having any faithful adaptation or respect for what Tolkien created? And here is, again, another example. Using fan reception of the Hobbit films as a way to bolster Rings of Power. But at any rate, I'm going to go into this article. I'm not going to touch on every paragraph, but I'm going to give my 2 cents. So without further ado, let's just dive right into this. Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings was a monumental cinematic achievement, managing the arduous task of bringing the world of J.R.R. Tolkien to life and introducing a new audience to the author's work. The films received praise from both audiences and critics alike, with The Return of the King winning 11 Oscars. While the Rings films remain beloved, for some the franchise feels tainted by Jackson's follow-up, The Hobbit, which expanded a relatively light source material into another sprawling, vast trilogy, pulling from other parts of Tolkien's canon. Again, and I can't beat this dead horse enough when it comes to The Hobbit, I'm not necessarily trying to defend that trilogy when I say this. However, it was an adaptation of a legitimate source, canonical source book, The Hobbit. Alright? Did they add things that really weren't in the book? And when I say weren't really in the book, I mean like expanded upon within the book? Yes. Alright? Do I like everything? No. Alright? But they didn't. The only non-canonical character they really added in the Hobbit trilogy was Tauriel. And that's another major issue I have. Alright? Another major issue I have. But for the most part, the characters were canonical. It was the Hobbits. The liberties that were taken were really more missed than hits, in my opinion. But it was an adaptation, a legitimate adaptation. Unlike Rings of Power. The Hobbit films are certainly not without merits, with fine performances from Martin Freeman and Richard Armitage in particular, but the legacy of the trilogy seems to have left a bad taste in some fans' mouths, with many questioning the need to stretch the story beyond the initial 2 films planned. Yeah, I believe it should have been at the most 2. At the most 2. Now I'm going to skip down a little bit. Alright? So here, okay? So, talking about the Rings of Power. Conversely, the Rings of Power is telling a largely original story. It should be telling the story Tolkien wrote. It should be telling the story Tolkien wrote. It shouldn't be largely original. It should be largely fucking faithful. Not drawn from a specific part of Tolkien's source material, although there is clear potential for elements of the Silmarillion to be incorporated. They don't have the fucking rights to it, jackass! They don't have the fucking rights to it, so everything that they would be pulling from the Silmarillion would be in name fucking only, because they don't have rights to adapt anything from that book. None! Whatsoever! Gaslighting is starting, ladies and gentlemen. It is already starting. This series, being set millennia before the Peter Jackson movies, will be more tangential, whereas at times The Hobbit felt like it was trying too hard to explain certain characters' origins or what they were doing during the events, which distracted from the core story being told. So, how is that... Okay, issues for The Hobbit. How is that any way... How is that any way at all proof that this Rings of Power will be more tangential? Rings of Power doesn't have the baggage of the previous films attached to it. Rings of Power is supposed to be set during primarily the Second Age. And guess what the Second Age fucking preceded, you dumbass? The Third Age! It preceded the Third Age. And what stories are from the Third Age that you are talking about? The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings, where effects from the Second Age are felt in those works. So it doesn't have the baggage of the previous films. It's supposed to connect, not everything, but largely connect to the previous films, because the previous films are adaptations of Tolkien's works. But thank fucking God, golf clap, ladies and gentlemen, golf clap, it doesn't have the baggage of the previous films attached to it, and so has more freedom to tell an expansive story. That's code there. That's code there for inserting non-canonical characters, inserting socio-political narratives and so forth. More freedom to tell an expansive story. Whereas, like, more freedom for the authors to basically fucking bastardize what Tolkien wrote. And still claim they're going back to the book. What fucking book, assholes? You don't have the rights to those books that you would be adapting. It has the benefit of exploring unfamiliar characters, locations, and time frames. While The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings occupies a 50-year span of Middle-earth's history, the series has a huge playground to explore in the lead-up to the initial conflict between the free peoples of Middle-earth and the forces of Sauron. Okay, Bilbo left the Shire at 50. He returned to the Shire at 51. Okay? And Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring picks up at his 111th birthday. Okay? That's 60 years, you fucking dumbass. 60 years. Just right there alone. Just right there alone. Bilbo's 111 and Frodo's 33. Then you fast forward another 17 years, which the movies don't exactly accurately reflect, but another 17 years passes since Bilbo's party and when Frodo leaves the Shire, because Frodo's age is supposed to mirror the age Bilbo left. 50. So add 17 to the 60. Alright? That's 77. Add that to the year that Bilbo was away. That's 78. And then 78 plus another year, because Frodo takes him a year to go through all the events of the Lord of the Rings, from leaving the Shire until returning to the Shire. Right? 79 years. Nearly 80 fucking years. So, what? Occupies a 50-year span of Middle-earth's history? Really? Fucking really? It will also provide an expanded role for the likes of Morfydd Clark's Galadriel. One of the most powerful fucking mages in all of Middle-earth. She did not need to be leading armies at the front. She was powerful enough to lead them from behind if she chose so choose. But yes, she chose to remain with Celeborn from the end of the First Age on. So she's not leading any fucking armies. But then, good job, you're also expanding your role. Yay, power of the uterus. And promises to bring a more diverse feel to the universe than the 6 films that preceded. Code for... we're going to have tokenized characters. That's more diversity, because they're only looking at the skin color, folks. They're only looking at the skin color, the biological sex, and the sexuality. That's fucking it. That's fucking it. Never mind the diverse races Tolkien created, or anything like that. Never fucking mind that. They only look at the skin color, sex, and sexuality. Pretty fucking much. Alright? So there it is. There it fucking is. Gaslighting is starting. Alright? They're using the lackluster feelings Tolkien fans have towards the Hobbit films as a way to claim Rings of Power can restore Middle-earth to its former glory and such. So, the spin cycle is starting within the SHILL media. But what do you think about this article? Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. What are your thoughts on the Lord of the Rings films as compared to the Hobbit films? And what, as far as the Second Age books goes, which was your preference? Silmarillion, Unfinished Tales, or the History of Middle-earth if you've read all of them? Let me know all that fun stuff down in the comments below. In a pinned comment, I'll be leaving links to my Twitch channel, Jade_Fire. You can find me over there. That's where I do most of my gaming. Tonight, I'll be going back into Metal Gear Solid 5 and working out a schedule to switch out Mondays, rotate from Metal Gear Solid 5 to the Master Chief Collection for Halo. So tonight will be Metal Gear Solid Monday. Next Monday will be Master Chief Monday. So I'll be posting a link to my Twitch channel. Come follow me over there. I rant and go into everything that I talk about in videos and so forth with my chat and shoot the shit on other topics as well there. I will also be posting the link to my new live channel, Jade Shadow Live, where most of my live streams will be done over there from this point moving forward. As well as solo live streams I will be introducing and continuing Friday afternoons time frame. So check that out. Again, that's Jade Shadow Live. I'll post a link there. As well as the link to my merch store. It's just starting, so there's not a lot necessarily to choose from, but I'm starting merch for my main stream I do with others called Talk Nerdy to Us. So any support you want to give me over there is very much appreciated, and even if you can't buy it, just retweeting it, or sharing the link elsewhere is very much appreciated. So again, Twitch is Jade_Fire. Catch you over there tonight around 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Jade Shadow Live, my new live channel that I'll be building up over the next year or so, as well as the link to my new merch store on TeePublic. So, like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. This is Mara Jade. Catch you on the dark side, and Middle-earth never stopped being glorious, you fucking asshole.